the Living Theater, to open a new theater with an American classic, the Brig. I am not free. There is a structure in my mind that imprisons me. This structure is the world. I obey certain laws. I could be punished. I cannot act upon my sexual desires. I cannot find the resources I need to create my art. I cannot stop war. I cannot live without money. I said these structures are in my mind, yet prisons, walls, police, money systems, borders, taboos are all structures of society. But my mind is, our minds are society. Iraq, a ruthless dictator holds the social fabric together. A warring machine, a political fiction, neocons, a military-industrial complex, call it what you will, invades and does away with the dictator. And now there is another structure, equally ruthless, that does and does not hold the social fabric together. The United Nations. Bosnia, yes. Rwanda, no. Sometimes structures act, sometimes not. And today, in the Sudan, how is this decided? Graffiti on the wall. Who rules? Julian Beck in 1964 asks, is it easier to observe life in the street or in the theater? Sitting in the restaurant, I see a petty bust. A white cop handcuffing a young black male. They play their roles perfectly. They are both embarrassed, awkward in their recitations. I am the anonymous public, impotent. It is cruel. It is more than a physical tempest. It is a spiritual concussion that is signified in the general trembling of their limbs and their rolling eyes. Artaud. In 1964, the Living Theater stages The Brig by Kenneth Brown, based on the experience of Marines in the Marines' Brig. Not a play about prisons in Iraq or in Guantanamo, but about Marines abusing Marines. The idea was to make the audience feel the cruelty of brute authority and drive home in them the desire to dissolve that same authority. Devastating, grim, relentless, supercharged, unforgettable, a drill, a fist in the guts, a hangover, a nightmare, shocking, an act of conscience, decency, and moral revolt, shattering. Calls were made for congressional investigations. The Living Theater was closed. It was historical. Where is theater like that today? What we learned in the Brig 42 years ago is so much clearer today. Steve Ben Israel, actor who performed the Brig more than 100 times. Harvey Keitel, when he went to audition for the play, having just left the Marines, said he had had enough of that already. In the rehearsals, Judith applied the rules and regulations of behavior for Marines as prescribed in the guidebook for Marines, their manual on how to dress, on how to dress, obey, kill, die, and over to obey, especially in dying. Steve Ben again. Every actor who played the Brig learned it all there in that one play, because that play was for real. Judith says, the price of the chaos under which we suffer, the price of the rigid law which gives us a slave's ease, when the audience can know violence in the clear light of the kinship of our physical empathy, it will go out of the theater and turn such evil into such good as transform the furies into the kindly ones. I don't know how to get free. I look to the greats to steer me. The Charlie Parkers, the Janis Joplins, the dead and living poets, the eternal rebels. I don't believe that any social system can ever free me. Perhaps even in an actualized utopist community, I might still have to follow rules, limit myself, find a measure of what I can and cannot get away with. Are we so doomed? I do know that freedom will never be found in the New York Times, on the internet, by voting, from capitalism, and having things, or even from simple being. Julian Beck, no one is free until all of us are free. The human face is an empty power, a field of death. After countless thousands of years that the human face has spoken and breathed, one still has the impression that it hasn't even begun to say what it is and what it knows. Artaud. If in the Brig, in the empty automaton faces of the prisoners, in the sadistic smiles and violence of the guards, in the complete and horrific silence of the audience, we can examine, under the light of art and science, this shop of horrors in which we live. If we can risk abandoning our perception of what we believe we are, of what we might become, then perhaps we might take a step together into the real. No fiction. We need to learn again how to feel. We are doing the Brig once more. Believe me, we are risking everything. See you on Clinton Street in April.